Good morning. This is a very important talk for me and a lot of people who had been talking about this. So it's a important topic. Actually, it is presented in many places as supreme empowerment of human beings. Okay, so this is something big deal in Indian philosophical, Indian spiritual sections. They carry this as the India's eternal gift to humanity. Okay, so you can see how this is, and uh, just stay with me, and then you you will appreciate what I also appreciate. So it's something like a big deal for us because we have been following this for generations. So what it is simply put, it will tell you how to really approach our inner divine self, the subjective self, right? That is where you can really see that, So if you think you are just the body and the mind, and it is a kind of call to awaken to that, okay? So let's start. First of all, uh, what is that? Brahma is not just like a Hindu god that is there as a creator. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about absolute, complete consciousness that is with us everywhere. Okay, so this Brahma Vidya, the India's eternal gift to humanity, is a journey from outer knowing to inner realization, from the noise of the world to the silence of the self. So, in the stillness of awareness, the universe awakens to itself. Okay, that silence is important. The awareness is important. Okay, so once you understand that, you will be really able to understand why this is built like that. See, this is like everybody has their light or the spark of life that is never goes away, that never flickers also. Okay, so India's true legacy, I think, is not conquest. It's not conquest of body or mind or anything. No, it's a but consciousness. So for millennia, sages have turned inward, discovering a luminous awareness that transcends time, culture, and circumstances. This is the Brahma Vidya, the science of being. Is not a religion or philosophy. It is the direct inquiry into what remains when all concepts fall away. Experiment with that. Okay, it invites the seeker to journey inward. Nothing like a system, each human being, right? Journey inward, dissolving the illusion of separation and revealing the one behind the many, one particular life force. Okay, this is the light that never flickers. The eternal witness is always there as witness, the unchanging ground of existence itself. Okay, that's how you really want to understand this. Okay, so it's a massive thing. It's an important thing. People have to really pay attention to that. Okay, so I took like several sources to present this to you. One is the Gita, Bhagavad Gita has this call of the Gita is we have there was a crisis, there was a battlefield, right? But then the warrior becomes confused because he wanted to know what is what to do, what is death, whoever is killing and all. Okay, so his despair transforms into the doorway to wisdom. He asks to know what should I do when I face with this extreme confusion on the battlefield. So this is taught on the battlefield in Gita, right? So The teaching reveals that true yoga is skill in action, performing duty without attachment, serving without expectation. Look at that. Okay. And the practice is that rests in awareness amid movement, and in the middle of what? Let every action become meditation. Every breath a return to presence. So yoga is skill in action from the Bhagavad Gita that you want to learn, and that is presented because once you establish in your true awareness, then your whatever you do becomes the yoga. That is real, no movement of the mind. That's why you have skill in action. Okay, if you can remember that, it will be very good to understand this. Okay, so other perspective is Advaita Yoga is the one that people want to understand. But then in Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, he does talk about that Advaita Yoga. Okay, so Krishna says, "Your guide is within." The Bhagavad Gita is not a war manual, but a mirror of the self, inner being. Okay, Krishna speaks not as an external deity, but as the voice of the inner wisdom that resides in every heart. See, voice of wisdom resides in every heart. So what it does is this teaching transforms every mundane duty into a sacred devotion. When performed in presence, work becomes worship, struggle becomes surrender, chaos becomes clarity. So true yoga is equanimity plus action plus awareness. I will repeat that. True yoga is equanimity. In the presence of situations, your mind is stable and you are acting. You are not resting or something. And you are aware of the inner being and then do everything with equanimity of the mind. This triad, equanimity, action, and awareness, they form the foundation of spiritual life. Can you be equanimous when you are presented with life? Okay, so when something bad happens, you can keep that equanimity. You will be able to do what you want to do. So the second thing is the action with awareness, not with intelligence, not with mind only. Okay, remember those true yoga is equanimity of mind, action, and awareness. Okay, so uh, this is maintains the inner balance while engaging fully with the world, fully, not withdraw, all the while resting in the awareness that is a witness of both the equanimity and the action. That means mind and the action. Okay, I hope it makes sense to you. Okay. Uh, Say, I took several sources actually to present this to you, but it's a question of understanding. It's not a teaching for you, okay? It's a question of understanding, okay? So, the second one I took was the Advaita Veda from Ramana Maharshi, even though he did not say Advaita Vedanta. Later on, you could see that the Advaita Vedanta also talked about it, but Ramana Maharshi got it by himself. See, Ramana Maharshi talked about the flame of silence. Okay, the flame of silence is the question is, who am I? Okay, he simplified infinity into one inquiry. That is, who am I? This single question cuts through all philosophical complexity and points directly to the source. Who am I? Okay, and in his silence, he found their source, the inner being, right? The divinity we're talking about. His presence was the teaching. He was still and he was quiet and he conveyed a lot of things in mauna, in silence, right? So long ago they said, be still and know that you are that. You are God. You are that divinity. This method is, it's not through the effort, but through recognition. Recognition, it is, the self is not attained, it is already there. So it is realized as what you already are. what you have always been. So that inner knowing, that recognition, realization is what really helps you to stay in that and not in the mind, not in the body. Okay, I'll go more detail into that as we go along. But you have to understand this. So that is the second one, which is Ramana Maharshi. And then if you really take the Advaita Vedanta itself, that is um, oneness, that is no second. Advaita means this is not Dvaita. Dvaita is two, but Advaita is only one. Okay, this is a non-duality, no two, no division. All apparent multiplicity arises from and returns to the one. It arises from the one and returns to one. This they termed it as Sat Chit Anand. The self is existence, whatever it is now, and consciousness, which is awareness, and it is blissful. So the consciousness that is existing is blissful. This is ever present, and it is self-luminous and complete. But once we really understand that and stay in there, and then see the mind activity, body activity, everything outside you as something like a object, even body mind becomes objects, right? Then you are established in your inner being. You recognize, see, not to be attained, but to be recognized as one's own nature, always here, always now. Okay? See, the wave in the sea believes itself separate from the ocean until it realizes it has always been water. It may have arisen in the sea and raised and then fallen down and then realizes it's all water. So too, the individual discovers they have never been apart from the infinite. That infinite is the Brahma, and knowing that is the Brahma Vidya. And because you are thinking we are limited people, we have only this body and this mind, and then we are swayed by that, all suffering is happening. So what is the purpose of this Brahma Vidya is, even if you have extreme suffering, you will transcend it. Because you can see it as out of desire, you can see it as temporary, you can see as away from you. So you can be very, very stable even in the presence of extreme calamities. Okay, they were there like that. The sages and rishis and yogis, they were very happy people. Why? They don't have any money, they don't have any insurance, they don't have anything that they can claim as worldly things, but they are extremely happy, and they became the rich source for the other people who are in calamity. Okay, so understand that. Okay. And then modern times, there is this Jiddu Krishnamurti, which I have fortunate to get familiar in 80s. Ironically, he comes from same state I was there, but I never heard of him in India because he was so difficult to understand. A lot of people didn't know about him. But after I came here, one of my friends introduced me to him, and I was following his talks and all. So what he said was, truth is a pathless land. So he said, no guru, no creed, just pure observation. And then you got to be free from your own conditioning. If you have that freedom from the known, then you awaken to the truest knowledge, not the accumulated knowledge. So he said, if you want freedom from your own mind, from your own conditioning, it cannot be given by another. It must be discovered through direct seeing, not with the past. He was not even quoting any text, anything like we do. He was without the filter of tradition or belief. You got to be able to perceive things as it is, not daily cook up theories and all. What is in your heart? Are you free? In your mind, are you stable? That's only you know, right? And that are attained by pure observation. So watching the thought without judgment. That is what I always talk about. Observe your thought. Don't get influenced by the thought, right? And then as you observe, you could see how fickle it is, how much change. It says thoughts change, but not your real inner self. Stay there and use thought. That means be aware of what you are, what is going on, and then just observe the thoughts that are coming up and all that. Do the movement, but the movement is not there, then you will be able to act very well. Okay, so watch the thought without judgment. Let them come. See the movement of fear, desire, and conditioning without interference. That's what Krishnamurti championed about. Okay, so from that you get the freedom from the known. So awakening is not about accumulation of knowledge, but freeing yourself from the prison of past patterns and future projections. But here in this moment, you are completely with what you are doing. Okay. So these three people, Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, and Ramana. He was early part of 20th century, and then Krishnamurti. He died in 1985 or so. These three people, by each one is a big study. But essence is that you have to free yourself from the limited nature you think you are, right? Then that you will, and it's not that egotistically you will conquer the world. Rather, you will be free from the egotistic attitude, egogenic thoughts, but also you will be really free from the suffering of the world, because you are the vast. The infinity is you. And then not in the egotistical sense, but in actual fact, we are the life force first, and then we manifest body and mind. But what is important is how you can manifest your own inner divinity in regular life. Not feeling that I'm such a great person. No, that's anathema. It's not that. What it is you could see you are the infinite appearing as the body and mind. Then you will be able to understand the body better, understand the mind better, but mind doesn't influence the body, the psychosomatic factor, and you will end up in that blissful consciousness that is existing now. You are existing, right? So this message of infinite is you. I am that. For that, be still in your mind and know that you are the God. This is the triad of transmission I was trying to communicate through Krishna, Ramana, Krishnamurti. Krishna gives the guide. She offers the path of skillful action, devotion, and dharma, the rightful action. He teaches us to engage fully with life, while remaining anchored in awareness, not in the mind that is fluctuating. That is the beautiful thing. And Ramana really excelled in the silence. He points to the self through inquiry and stillness. Where are these thoughts coming from? Who is having these thoughts? Knowing that he is established in his silence, right? He shows that the answer lies not in acquiring, but in recognizing what already is. There's nothing to realize about. He says people think they are not self-realized. So they are already realized as the self, as the infinite consciousness, and you just have to take away what you think that I'm not. Okay. And Krishnamurti actually suggests a mirror. So our conditioning reflects back to us without judgment. So he invites radical freedom through direct observation of what is. Okay. So together, these three luminaries, they reveal the dimensions of Brahma Vidya: guidance, stillness, and seeing. So each offers a doorway, the same truth approached from different angles of light. I thought I will put it all together for my own understanding and also share with you. Okay. Um, See, the model seeker's journey is, so we have the era of data and distraction. When notification come and fracture our attention, and algorithms, they curate reality, right? So Brahma Vidya becomes our compass home. It teaches how to witnessing thought without being trapped by it. That is the problem with the modern mind, is already trapped by it. You know, to observe emotions without drowning in them. Okay, well, have emotions definitely, but you don't have to be drowned by that. Sorrow and all that. To live from the center of awareness rather than the periphery of reaction. That's what it is. From the morning to the evening, we live in a series of reactions to life as it happens. But if you are aware of yourself, and then you can witness those reactions, and then they will go down in the intensity. Right? If you are anger, observe the anger. Don't get involved in that. Then see how it goes down. One of the my friends, she asked me about this. She is getting anger very easily. Then I suggested this to her, and she did actually. She was aware the anger is coming. She was really aware of the movement of the anger, and then she was not giving more feedback involved in it. Right. So ancient wisdom for me, for contemporary living, is it finds stillness amid speed. We are speed, right? Always going, but the stillness. And then cultivating presentation in the digital age. Okay. Cultivating presence, actually, presence in the digital age. So you be in the moment, here and now, and transform information into insight and discover the unchanging ground beneath constant change. This is unchanging ground. So the question remains timeless. What it is, who am I? What is real? How shall I live? Okay. So the integration is, we need to not abandon the world to find truth. We bring awareness into every dimension of modern life. So be in awareness and use thought and end thought. That's my thing all the time. I've been talking to you guys about it, right? So I hope I conveyed something important for you. I consider this important for me, So I hope you can see that that's important for you too. So any questions, anything that you want to bring up, you can. So why I call this India's eternal gift is, see, the invitation is this: when the world rushes outward for answers, India whispers, turn within, go inward into your own self. This inward turn is not escapism, but actually you are exploring them, but the deepest engagement with the reality. Okay, and then the recognition, every being is a drop of the same ocean of consciousness. Every human being is a drop of the same ocean of consciousness. Separation is the illusion, that is the Maya. True unity is the truth hidden in plain sight. Okay, we have unity, we have right here, but we don't recognize it. And then this realization is India's immortal gift. Self-knowledge as the universal wisdom. No system, no religion, nothing. Self-knowledge about you, who you are, freely offered to all humanity by India. So the journey begins with each morning when we awaken, not to the world of things, but to the awareness that illuminates them, all objects, to the awareness. Wake up in awareness, stay there for 5 minutes, and carry the presence throughout the day. Use thought consciously and end thought consciously. So this is what I wanted to tell you about. My motto is Atma Mokshardham Jagat Hitayecha. First, realize your inner being, inner supreme empowering tool, and then go and work for the welfare of the world. That's my motto, which I got it from the Upanishads, for self-revelation and then world welfare. That is what is Atma Mokshardham Jagat Hitayasha mean. So, anybody has any comments? Anything you want to tell me about it? What did you understand? Did I make it clear? Or this is a very, very probably extraordinarily difficult thing to realize, but to understand it easy, right? So let's say somebody's coming up or no way. Mark. Hi, Mark.
Morning.
Morning. You got it?
Good morning.
What I saying?
I just said good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to recount. I think I've talked about this before, but a good friend of mine is a Brahmin, and he came to the United States at 16 and went to college here, and then I met him, and we're good friends ever since the early 90s. But I was in Singapore once, and I met his uncle, I think, and this was like, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, maybe. And, well, no, it must have been a little less than that, like 15 years ago. But anyway, I met his uncle, and his name of his company was Advaita Vedanta. And I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. And then he explained it, and it's funny because it was like a coal energy business thing. And I always thought, well, coal's not that great for knowing this Advaita Vedanta stuff. Anyway, I found a book, he helped me get it, called The Book of One by Dennis Wade. And it has an explanation of this stuff. And I think I mentioned to you before that it's very, very heavy in Sanskrit because the author thought it's best to communicate this in the original language so nothing's lost in translation. So it's a kind of a hard book for me to read because I don't know anything about Sanskrit. And I studied it and tried to do it through the vein of, okay, what did the original concepts mean? What are they trying to get at? It was kind of hard to understand, but I took notes, and then I spent a lot of time with the book, and I took all these notes, and I liked it. And then, this has happened to me a few times, there's a prized asset because I had done all this work. I lost the book. So I had to buy another one, and I have it, and I looked at it, but I lost all those notes from 10 years ago or something. But I've studied this stuff, and when you present it today, it's just a reminder of material that I was exposed to. But you need to practice it, right? You need to think about it. You need to do it daily. You need to have meditation. You need to be able to disengage with your mind. And the only way you can do that is if you have a practice. And what's great, Dr. Rao, is what you try to do with your help is promote practice on a daily basis and then tie that into longer term. And then your life is oriented around this, and you put in the relatively difficult work to put yourself in this state, which I respect. It's great.
True, Mark. It's every moment, you have the occasion to be the witness, and then...
and if you live, the other thing we've talked about is that if you live in the Western world, and I had a finance career, I made a decent amount of money, I have luxury, and I'm not wealthy, but I have enough wealth that I can travel, and I have a nice place and stuff like that. And the thing is, this thing about this, I was raised a Catholic, and the quote that I knew since I was a small child, something like that, it's more difficult for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Part of that is you get distracted with the luxury and the money, and then you get distracted by ego stuff, like, am I smarter, better, richer than these guys? And then you play that game all the time. And it's really distracting. So if you don't have practices that kind of ground you and remind you that money's really nothing, you're going to get kind of caught in what I call like the Western pursuit trap of whatever you're pursuing. It could be hedonism, it could be ego stuff, it could be whatever. And if you're in the world, there's not a good quote in Christianity, be in the world but not of the world. Right? So we live in this world, and these other forces are, this is how people live. They don't even think about, some people don't even think about religion or spirituality at all.
Go through the river by piercing with the boat, but don't let the water come in. The same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just came up mainly to say thanks, and I haven't been on here like last 2 months. I've been busy, so I haven't really been on here at all. And it's ironically being on here and talking to you and other people that are doing good things. It kind of reorients you. Like, I try to go to church on Sundays, and it reorients you to take a break and think about long term and how do you get back on track to thinking and acting a day-to-day, moment-to-moment. And I think you do a great job of reminding people there's a great place here, but you don't just get there by understanding that the great place exists. You have to do steps to put yourself in the great place, basically.
It's basically we don't have to change anybody. We have to change ourselves. That's where the practice you're talking about, shows us,
That's right.
every
Anyway,
day.
thanks again, Dr. I'll talk to you soon and we'll catch up.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, Mark gets the Advaita Vedanta, and he's always trying to talk about it, write about it, and okay. So it's a question of we have the choice. We have the human birth. We have the manifestation of the divinity can happen. Vivekananda talked about it. It's a true religion is really pointing to the inner divinity and then manifesting that inner divinity. That is really important to put it forth in our lives, and then as life happens, you can really relate to that. Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments? Prasad, what do you think about this?
Well, I'm still wrapping my head around it. It's a complex thing. And I'm wondering, how do we evolve? Could you shed some light on this?
Just get up in the morning.
But again, not in running in circles. So, I'm wondering how to handle this thing.
No, usually what we think is we are this physical body, and we are this persona we develop, and we are this mind that's going on all the time, accentuated by the modern culture too. But once you are really understand, I'm not just this limited human being, and I don't have to have this limited thinking, and I don't have to think like I'm nobody, I'm just a small and all that. You would realize that you are part of the infinite life force that is there around us all the time. We will come into that manifest body, mind, and go. Once you understand that, then that you are not separate. Like I said, the each morning we awaken to not to the world of things, but to the awareness that is inner divine self that is illuminating all the objects and everything. We kind of feel like we are separate from that. So not to do so much of spiritual things, but may just be quiet in your mind. That is the difficulty. So there's a formula. They can talk about three things. Okay, but very difficult. Both may ekta. You realize in our consciousness we are all one. There is only one consciousness, and we think we are separate from. That's the problem. So both may ekta. That means in consciousness we are all one. And chit may samata. In your mind, you are not reacting that way, this way extreme. You kind of maintain the equanimity. That is the problem for the modern way of using mind and modern way of not using mind and all that. Okay. So once you understand that, you are that inner awareness, and you will be still in thought, and you start whenever you want, but you don't let the thought become your cyclical thing. That's the problem. Okay. So wake up in the morning, be aware of all the things, and in that awareness, let the thought function for you for your duties, and then end it. But if you let it unconsciously go on, let it continue, then you accumulate a lot of residue, the samskaras, vasanas, the ingrained thoughts, and then you're caught in the loop of the thought rather than using the thought. Okay, so wake up in the morning, be in awareness, and use thought for the functions, for the things that you want to do, and then you will be very relaxed. So three things. One is both me ekta, that is consciousness in all, is only one, and chit me samata, that is in our mind, we are equanimous, and then vyavahar me asangata. When you involve with the world and all that, don't say, I am the one who is doing, but rather be, I am being led by the divine to do this work. You are doing for the earth, so all the ecological work. You are being driven by the divinity to do that work. So you don't give importance to the ego and all that. Okay, those three are both me ekta, chit me samata, vyavahara me asangata. But we create our families, we kind of attach to them, and we want to limit our world. Rather, breakthrough. You can love your family, but also love the entire world. So these three things, I think, Prasad, we could implement. Make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So it's a question of not the theory or intellectual understanding. It's a question of, is that happening in my life? Okay. If you can understand that, and then it's not about measuring to anybody, but it's about our own inner incompleteness or non-satisfaction or feeling limited. That will go away and open up a wonderful world. That's why this is called supremely empowering things, not for the ego. Ego will be transcended. And that's why this results in atyadika dukkha nivritti. Extreme sorrows also will be transcended, not to overcome in the sense or conquer them. No, you will understand a movement when it comes, how our mind gives it more life. So your mind will be stable in the extreme tragedies also. And Paramananda Prapti, forever fulfillment is possible because you are not having any desires, anything, whatever it is you deal with. And that's why you are forever fulfilled by this kind of understanding and bringing it to our life, executing it. People may say cleverly in their mind, oh, this is all something I don't want to follow. That's fine. But if you want personal transcendence of the suffering, personal transcendence of the desire and ego, and then achieve forever fulfillment as a human being, this is the way. That's why those yogis and sages, everybody, they're extremely happy, blissful, and they have very silent mind. And that's why even if you go to their presence, you feel that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah. This is the actual real contribution of India. Now, do you say everybody in India is doing it? Hardly. Because very few percentage of this enormous population at this. But at one time, this was the culture. The culture was about Atma Mokshadam Jagat Hitaicha. So they want to realize who they really are. That is Atma Mokshadam, that is free from the mind and its activities, desires, and all the ego and all that. And once they achieve that, they don't want any materialist things, or they don't want anything that should be accumulating and all that. They went for the working of the welfare of the society without expecting anything in return. That was the ultimate of the culture, and that promoted. So lots of people kind of live like that, even though a little way. But there are certain people that became advisors to the kings. Even the kings explored this. They were so busy, but then they had time to explore this, and then they ruled the people with affection like a father, not like exploiting them. There were people there, but there were some kings who are really called Rajeshris, and that's why that administration of those kings was exceptional. Okay, even now some people follow their methods. Okay, so it's basically this dharma. That means do anything that you do for the welfare of everybody, that touches everybody. So this is not like a personal ego, personal building up a lot of things for ourselves. That's not there. Okay, so the culture may have there. It's not that we go back to that, but what we understand, we can bring it into our lives. For example, I was a doctor. I had a big practice. I had a lot of things like material, right? But then I retired and then entered into the ancient wisdom even before that. So I was able to help a lot of doctors with burnout, and IT professionals with the stress, and leaders also telling them how to be a servant leader. So this has become my guidance from the ancient wisdom, which has left me with complete satisfaction, fulfillment, and not striving for anything that is trivial, that is minimal. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many people come to listen to me. I just want to share the knowledge. I want to share the wisdom that was there from the ancients, and then also the modern science. So there's wisdom there too. So you just have to learn that and then share it. That became my service. Okay, so I'm happy just because I'm doing that. Okay, so it will not come if with the material things. It will not come with a lot of accumulation of lot of money and all. There's no need for that. Okay, so hopefully you understand my thrust, why I am doing this, why I am trying to come. And it's not to, I don't follow any particular religion, but the religious, all religions, they strive to get us to realize our inner divinity and then manifest. Vivekananda said this: true religion is really recognize the inner divinity in all human beings by themselves, and while living, manifest that divinity. That means you are kind, compassionate, considerate, loving to other animals, plants, and human beings. Okay, that man, that divinity is already fulfilled, so it doesn't need to strive for anything. But are you able to recognize the divinity in this fast-paced world? I say you can. Okay. Only thing is, allot some time about this, and then do that every day, slow by. Don't blame yourself if you are not able. Suppose you have some desires and you don't want to blame yourself, but then you sooner or later you will see they will go down. And suppose you are having agitation of the mind, observe that and then let it go down. So you enjoy the peace by yourself, you enjoy the happiness by yourself, you enjoy the joy in human life, not really dread. And also you understand what is death, what is not dying. Not dying is your inner spiritual self. Okay, what dies is the body and mind. So once you understand that, then you would say, okay, this is natural for me to be born, for me to age, for me to die. But you don't mourn that, but every day you contribute. Okay, and you live in a blissful joy. Okay, you don't need anything else. That's what the yogis showed us, and then they lived like that. Okay, so I was very fascinated by their longevity, by they lived up to 125 years on an average, and they were not accumulating a lot of wealth. They lived with the nature, they lived with the caves and under the trees and all that. Okay, but when you go near them, you could see the joyful reflection that they will project, and also the peacefulness that surrounds them. So anybody goes around them, they experience that peace, they experience the silence, they experience the joy that yogis had. This is possible even in this human modern life. All you have to do is you manage your mind and body, and knowing that they are temporary, but you are really the inner divine self is the permanent thing. So once you land up in that, you realize that you are the ocean. You are no longer an independent wave. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Anybody else wants to come and say anything? You can now before I close it. It's almost maybe I'm here like 45 minutes now today. Okay. Peter, Evan. So I know this is not a subject that is easier to understand and execute, but I just presented something that is there for us to explore, for us to practice every day, every moment, And the more we are keeping this in front of us, you can start the day. Just get up. Don't allow the train of thoughts take over you and rush in. Give a chance for your inner presence to come out and stay in that presence to the day. Okay, and then even you want to do some stuff and use the thought, use it consciously, but then get out of it as soon as the thing is done. Then slip back into your presence, present moment awareness. If you can just remember that PMA and then be in that awareness in whatever you do. And then don't be caught with the thought and mind. You are really blissful. Otherwise, the thought will create its own problems. Okay, the conditioning, the hang-ups, the disappointments, the judgments, all these things are thoughts. Where are they coming from? They're not from your real inner divinity self, but from your superficial mind. Okay, everybody has that, but don't let that dominate you. Don't let that give you your image and then get caught to the image. That is the ego and persona. So don't be in the persona, but in the presence, and then go and contribute to life. So that is a real good formula to not be stressed by your own thoughts, by your own inner judgments or whatever. Also separating yourself from everything else and feeling lonely, feeling not being loved, or so. You give love. You be the person who knows that I'm not alone. I'm the part of this enormous Brahman, which is the consciousness, right? So I did not even go into all the scientific things that are going on. I did not go into all that. But I wanted to convey was how wonderfully, supremely empowering this realization that we are part of this huge consciousness. Okay. So thank you. And hopefully, if you have questions, talk to me. Somebody wants to come up. Let's see. My regular guest, Peter, my dear friend. Okay.
Namaste, Dr. Rao.
Namaste, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great. Can't you see the joy and bliss?
Yeah, of course. And I love to talk, and I wanted to come on earlier, but my phone kept ringing. So
yeah. No. Go and follow that later, and then you will have a lot of questions, I'm sure.
Yeah. I find what's helpful for me, I heard you mention a couple times that, just waking up in the morning, how we should wake up. And I find that for me, as I practice this, like, I set reminders in my phone because I know you're in that present moment awareness all day long. That's how you stay. I do not. I'm working on it. But what I find personally helpful for me is just like little reminders in my phone to go back to that. So I do that 3 or 4 times a day, and it's really helpful for me because having the sustained, in that sustained state, I'm not quite there yet. I know what it is. It's beautiful.
The clue there in the morning, Peter, stay with the nature. Okay, so you wake up, right? You wake up, and then usually people do allow their thoughts to come in just to plan the day, and they say they get sucked into that stream of thought right away. Okay?
Sure.
I'm not saying that you should not do that. What I'm saying is do that with awareness of the presence. See, once you establish yourself with the nature that you are perceiving what is out there, you are not telling the nature to be like this. Okay, if it is raining, watch it. Okay, if it is snowing, watch it. Don't let the stars go, oh my God, I have to go and plow the snow. I have to drive in this weather. Don't do that.
Love it. Yeah, no, that's helpful. That's helpful.
That will help because to establish yourself in the present moment of what is happening out there with the nature. Okay, then what you do is you turn that inward. And then see what is happening with your own egotistical, egogenic impulses. Okay,
it's almost like being curious, right? And is it kind of like that? Just being curious.
No, it's not curious. It's about observing.
Observing, yeah.
Whatever happening, okay, because we are conditioned to be egotistical, to be personality, and all that, that will take over very easily. So freedom is when you realize I am being taken over by this thought stream and recognizing it and then using it properly, but not allowing it to dominate you. It's not that I don't use thought. I do. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to convey something. I am using the thought.
Yeah.
So this is an important tool of ours. But how we use it is the problem.
Yeah.
Another clue I will give it is always see whether you are coming from your persona, personality, ego, or you are coming from your presence. So these two close. Pay attention to the nature, be in the nature's presence. That carries everywhere, Peter. Okay. Second thing is, check yourself not in persona, but in presence.
In presence, which is the nature.
Yeah. Actually, your presence is there, and you are overcrowding it with so many thoughts about things.
Yeah.
That's why people are not attentive to the present, what is happening, and do the proper job. Rather, they kind of let the thought go multi-direction. That is where your attention is fractured.
Right, right.
So all you do is get up in awareness, first A, right? Be in awareness. Your awareness, we let it slip away because your thoughts come and crowding you. Rather, delay the thought onset and establish yourself in the present moment. Okay? And then throughout the day, be attentive to whatever you're doing in present. Okay? And then at the end of the day, if you have accumulated any reactions from the day's life, vacate them.
Yeah, I feel like breath really anchors me and brings me back.
Yeah.
When I'm able to do that.
Definitely.
Just focusing on breath. Yeah.
Definitely. Because breath is the one which is the life.
Yeah.
The life is coming into you. It's not just the gas.
That's right.
That's the explanation of how life happens. But the actual thing is that life doesn't come in, you are dead.
That's right. The prana.
Yeah.
Namaste. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Sure. So that's an important thing to remember what Peter was talking about. So how to be in the present, how to be cultivated from the morning. Okay, that's the formula I give: awareness, attention through the day, and vacating our thoughts at the end of the day. AAV. So, I mean, to understand is simple, but to implement that in daily life is the challenge. So you go through that, and even if you fail, don't bother about it. Just go back to it. Every day morning start. Oh, I'm going to be today in awareness, in presence. I'm going to use my thought as needed, and also end my thought. That is the problem. People don't end thoughts, and they will go on thinking. On the other hand, the atmosphere doesn't help. The TVs, the phones, the everything. Why do I have to do so many phone calls anyway? Why do you have to talk? All these things are taking and meshing you in that thoughts, the cycle of thoughts. The enormous problems are happening because of the overthinking, information overload, overwhelm, and stress. People don't have I send them to the forest, tell them forest breathing, and I tell them, go and open up all your senses and listen to the nature. See the nature, enjoy the nature, but then you also withdraw that senses. Then you won't have feedback from the world. So this is called pratyahara. Okay, if you can do that, every day can be an occasion to be in that present moment awareness and really be free from a lot of dirt that we put in the mind, and then that takes over. It takes you away from your inner reality, and you think you are all thoughts, you are all limited, or whatever thoughts go, you may feel very good one day, and the next day you may feel very low. Okay. So that is a resolution of a lot of suffering. If you can understand that you are not just the body, body is yours, maintain that very well. And you are not the mind, okay? Use the mind and really enjoy the thought and that way. And then really rest in your inner being. That is being in the present, being aware, okay? Okay, with that, we'll stop here and I will see you again when I have the time. Okay, bye-bye. ఓకే దాన్ని ఎట్లా ఉంది అక్కడ
ఓకే, బాబు బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ చేసి వెళ్ళాడు పొద్దున్నే.
ఓకే.
వాళ్ళ ఫ్రెండ్ వచ్చి తీసుకెళ్ళాడు. మధ్యాహ్నం వరకు